Good morning, class. Happy Thursday. I hope you're doing okay with your unit assessment. Actually, I know you will do just fine in the unit assessment because you've shown me that you're working so hard, and I can tell from your test scores that everything is becoming a piece of cake for you, which is good because we're getting towards the end of the year, and very soon, not very soon, but like in a few months, you will start a new grade and you will be a third grader. Now, as a future third grader, I want you to practice revising by yourself. All right. So let's remember and backtrack our steps. What have we done with our writing assignment? Okay, so first you're writing an opinion paragraph about your favorite fruit. You've done the brainstorming session, also planning, drafting, and now we're moving on to revising. All right, I've given you some feedback so you can look at my ideas. Maybe I've underlined a few things, and I've also um, just gave you tips, different kinds of tips. So what I did is I created a self-revising checklist. You will use it as a guide so you can make your writing better. Okay, maybe the first time you wrote the draft, it was just everything was overwhelming. You had to write so much, you had to think a lot of things, and you were not thinking about word choice. So, this is the time. During the revision stage, I want you to focus on word choice. I've done a lesson on that. If you've forgotten, I'll send you the PowerPoint again. All right. So you can refresh your mind on adjectives and sensory words and how you can, make your writing sparkle with these wow words. All right. So you can look at that PowerPoint again and also um, use the revising checklist to make sure your writing is better. But you're gonna do that. All right. So you use the checklist and I'll show you how to do it and then you can practice by yourself. All right. So let's get started. All right, class. So here's the self-revising checklist that you will be using for today's assignment. All right. And as you can see, it is color coded. So here we have the pinkish color. Then we have the greenish, bluish. All right. So for each color, there's a different expectation. So there's something that you're expected to do. All right, so we're gonna go over them and I'll show you how to use this checklist. What you're going to do is decide, read it, and then say yes or no. So did I answer the writing task? Yes, so then you can write a Y or a check mark. Just put a check mark. And then did you revise it? You didn't really need to revise it because you had done it. Then the next one, I have a topic sentence telling my opinion. Yes. And did you need to revise it? No, because you've had it. Do you have a hook? Yes. All right. So let's look at some student examples to show you exactly what I mean. All right, so here's the first student example we're going to look at. And again, we're focusing on ideas and content. So I'll read it the way it is, and we'll just kind of ignore the mistakes we see, if we see any. I'm not saying there are any, but I'm just going to. All right, so I'll read it. It says, yum, yum, yum is the sound I make when I eat watermelon deliciously. I think the best fruit to eat is watermelon. First, watermelon is rich in juice. All right, so let's look at the editing checklist. I'm not editing, I'm sorry, revising checklist. And see, did he answer the writing task? Is he writing about his favorite fruit? Yes. Does he have a topic sentence telling his opinion? Yes, here it is. I think the best fruit to eat is watermelon. So this is his topic sentence, which means the main idea of his paragraph. So everything he's writing is about this main idea.
his topic sentence. Yes, he has a topic sentence. Does he have a hook? Yes, he has a hook, and here it is. This is his hook, so we put a check mark. And then you're going to check to make sure you have two reasons and examples to support your topic sentence. And don't forget to add in a concluding sentence. All right, for this next section of the writing checklist, which is a word choice, I want you to go back to the previous lesson on the word choice. And you will look at the sensory words that you could use to describe look, smell, taste, sound, or any feeling, any texture of your fruit, for example. And also a list of adjectives where you can just take some adjectives and remember to how to add in adjectives to nouns. Anyway, just go back to the lesson and that should help you again to make your writing better. All right, now let's go over the blue part. Actually, there's two blue parts. The first one is formatting. And what I want you to check is for a title. Do you have a title? Yes, she has a title. She just has to revise this part. Right? Titles are always capitalized. And she has the date and she has her name of both name and date. So then, so she doesn't have everything, but then she has to go revise it, and then you can put a check mark. All right, so now let's look at the student example. I see here that she has indented her paragraph, this, which is 2 fingers. This might be a little bit too big, but it's good enough. No more than that. Maybe it should have been right around here. And yes, she has indented her paragraph. So we need to just put a check, and she did not need to revise it. You can leave it blank. Then the next one is she wrote from the left to the right side of the page margins. Now, see, for here, she did not do that. So what she needs to remind herself is maybe draw a line or just make a note somewhere on her draft that she has to write from the left side of the margin to the right side, because there's no reason to leave all this blank space here because you're writing one full paragraph which has to be together. Here's another example of a student who's needs to revise this part. He did not write from the left side of the margin to the right side of the margin, so he has to go back and revise it or make a note here to this has to continue. Let me use a different color. Let's see. This has to continue here. There's no reason to leave that blank space because then you're not writing to the end of the right side of the margin. All right, so I noticed that some of you have this issue of understanding margins. What are margins? So on a regular piece of paper, like from a notebook, this is what it looks like. Here's the red line. Sometimes it's like a subtle line, red line. You can almost not see it. So here's the left side of the margin, and here is the right side of the margin. All right, so we have two margins. And the problem is that some papers don't have any margins. So when they don't have margins, that's when we have to look at the lines from the left side of the line to the right side of the line. All right. So it gets a little bit tricky when we don't have the red lines letting us know where the margin is. So we have to look carefully and use the beginning of the line. Here's the beginning of the line as the margin. Here's the beginning of the line, and that's the margin. So if this student is not writing at the beginning of the margin, right? Since we don't have one, then we have to just assume that the beginning of the margin is right, see, this line, the beginning of that line. All right, so just make some notes. Remind yourself that you have to write when you write your final draft, this part has to be used. You have to use this and you have to use this. For today's assignment, what you're going to do is revise your draft and focus on content ideas and word choices. All right. So just go back to the PowerPoint that I'm going to send you and use the revising checklist to help you as you're improving your draft. Then I want you to submit the self-revising checklist when you're done. All right. Here's the self-revising checklist, and just use it to help you become an independent writer where you can do this work on finding ways to make your writing better all by yourself.